Hello and welcome to Brodual. Today we're finally back with some good old Skyrim. Thanks to a sudden PC malfunction, we had to delay Skyrim for a couple of weeks. We were working on our mod list version 2 video, but we lost a lot of the progress when the PC broke on us. But rest assured, it's definitely coming very soon. For today's mod, we have the opening scene overhaul. Whenever people talk about mixing up the start of Skyrim, they usually just recommend skipping the opening scene altogether. You've probably all tried or at least heard of one of the many popular alternate start mods, for example. Instead of running from the problem, the opening scene overhaul tries to solve it. As you can imagine, Bethesda probably went through many iterations of how the player would start Skyrim. Some of what you were supposed to see or hear had to be cut to not overload or confuse a new player, but now, many years later, these cut features can be unlocked and appreciated thanks to mods. The opening scene overhaul takes those cut features, like unheard dialogue and cutscenes, and then reintroduces them to the game. It also makes some general changes and fixes some inconsistencies. The changes made are scattered throughout the entire opening quest, so it doesn't overhaul the entire thing. You still have to ride a carriage to execution, Alduin still shows up to save the day, and you still have to escape with either the Imperials or the Stormcloaks. But throughout these usually mundane and repetitive sequences, you'll hear new conversations, see new things, and even partner up with new people. The changes aren't so expansive that we can show them off without spoiling a bit of the mod, so if it already sounds like something that you want to try, or you want to prefer to go in blind, then you can find a link down below. For everyone else, let's get into the nitty gritty of what's new. In the carriage scene, you'll hear a more passionate Ralof and Lockyer have a conversation about the Civil War. You get to hear the opinion of the two opposing sides right away, giving you insight into the current conflict. Instead of an afraid and nervous Lockyer, we get to hear a frustrated, angry one that blames everyone else, but especially the Stormcloaks for getting caught. It's interesting to see Lockyer with a different view on his current situation, as well as how it ultimately leads to a sudden panic moment when he decides to run. As you enter Helgen, not only can you see the Thalmor having a conversation with General Tullius, but if you listen carefully, you can actually now hear it too. Ralof even shares his not too savoury thoughts on the Thalmor as you pass. During the lineup, Hadvar has more to say as he processes each prisoner and ticks them off his list. This is thanks to a separate but similar voice set for Hadvar that was unused in the files. It's more of a generic voice, but it gives him plenty more to say throughout the opening scene. If you really wanted his more unique voice back for the rest of the game, then you can just uninstall the mod once you leave Helgen. When Alduin swoops down in vanilla, the captain calls for her sentries to see what's ahead, despite the fact that there's already a giant dragon clearly in view. So the mod fixes the timing with that, and then fills in the gap with more unused screaming dialogue from nearby people. As the dragon attack continues, you'll also hear more general panic and screaming from townspeople in the distance, which just adds that little bit more to the absolute chaos. As you escape, you'll also get to see a touching last moment between a man and his son. If you were fast enough in vanilla, you might have caught the end of it, but now you get to see the full thing play out. It's more of an emotional moment rather than a brutal killing of a random injured man. It also adds that little bit of extra depth to his son, who you'll meet later on in your playthrough. Finally, you'll make it to where you choose, the Imperials or the Stormcloaks. If you choose the Stormcloaks, not only will you be escaping with Ralof, but also with Ulfric. It's fully voiced too, with the mod making use of the cut conversations between them. They'll talk about escaping and other general chatter about the damned Imperials. Also, with Ulfric on your side, fighting through the Imperial soldiers in the keep is easier than ever. We'll leave you to find out how this plays out for yourselves in game. On the Imperial side, the changes are less dramatic. As I said earlier, Hadvar has more to say in general, and the new voice set changes the conversation he has with the executioner in the keep. He generally says the same things, but it still feels fresh. And that's pretty much everything you need to know. All in all, the opening scene is a delicate set of events that are hard to change without messing everything up. The opening scene overhaul does enough to give you at least another 2 playthroughs, one for each side just to see the extra features. If you haven't played through the opening scene in a while, then the new changes will make it even more enjoyable. So if you're compiling a list of mods that'll hopefully be compatible with the special edition coming soon, then you can find a link to this one down below. As always, be sure to leave endorsements on any mod you enjoy, be sure to check out G2A, and thanks for watching.